So now what I've said here is that if you're getting your information about COVID and the vaccines from the establishment news, you're being lied to. And you're being lied to at the top of their lungs, constantly 24/7, with very earnest looking people who you would never think would lie to you. Like, how about Rachel Maddow? Come on. She wouldn't lie. She's a nerd. Well, watch her lie nonstop about COVID.
Means that instead of the vaccine being able, instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person to person, spreading and spreading, sickening some of them, but not all of them. And the ones that it doesn't sicken don't know they have it. And then they give it to even more people because they didn't recognize they were, right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way. Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
That's not true. That was never true. That's not true. That was never true. This is from the end of March, almost April of this year, 2021. She's saying this. That's a lie. That's medical misinformation. And if this video of her saying this is up on YouTube, which it might be, they'll never take it down. But this is straight up 100% medical misinformation. And this is why people hate the unvaccinated, because they listen to a lying propagandist like Rachel Maddow tell them the people who aren't vaccinated are the ones not stopping COVID. This is all garbage.
A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
That is a lie. That is false. That is medical misinformation brought to you by Pfizer. She gets $30,000 a day to lie for Pfizer and the military-industrial complex, and she's doing it. She's lying to you right now.
Cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people.
Not true.
That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this.
That is not what that means. Why is it I knew that in my garage, but you don't know it with your $30,000 a day and your tens of millions of dollars in help, in staff? How many producers do you think she has? 20? How many interns that work there? 50? How many people work at that show? 100? She doesn't know this is a lie? I know it's a lie. I knew it was a lie. You can't vaccinate your way out of this pandemic. You can't do it. Will she ever correct it? No. You know what else she'll never correct? The lie she told about the hospital in Oklahoma being overrun with people taking horse ivermectin instead of human ivermectin. She lied about that on Twitter. It's still up. You know who got taken down from Twitter? Dr. Robert Malone, the guy who invented the vaccine technology. Because he's telling the truth about it. You know they leave up? Her, because she's lying at the behest of Big Pharma, which owns the media. There's no other way to put that. She's lying. And she'll never correct it. She'll never go, hey, remember what I said that the vaccine will end the pandemic if you just get vaccinated? That was 100% lie. That wasn't true at all. Remember when I said that if you get vaccinated, you can't get infected and it won't? That was also a lie. Remember when I said you can't be a host and you can't transmit it to someone else if you're vaccinated? That's also a lie. You think she's ever going to say that? Never. Because Rachel Maddow has less integrity than Alex Jones at this point. Alex Jones has been more right about this stuff than her, that's for sure. That's how bad they are. If somebody gave me $30,000 and put it in my pocket, you could see it hanging out, and I came on there, somebody from Big Pharma, and I started telling you all this stuff, would you believe me? If I got a $30,000 check, stick it out of my pocket before I sat down, every day they gave me one, would you believe what I said? I wouldn't, but people believe her. And that's what she looks like when she's lying for $30,000 a day at the behest of the establishment. Because she's a liar. And she has zero integrity. And you know how I know she has zero integrity? It's not a sin to make a mistake. I don't know if it's a sin to even be sloppy. Let's say you could be sloppy. But when you get called out and you don't correct it, that's when I know you're a liar. And that's what she is. Because she's been corrected. That tweet is still up about the bullshit ivermectin story. And she defended it after people pointed out. She's like, no. And here she is. That's 100% lie. Nothing she said is, I'm going to play it again.
Means that instead of the vaccine being able, instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person to person, spreading and spreading, sickening some of them, but not all of them. And the ones that it doesn't sicken don't know they have it. And then they give it to even more people because they didn't recognize they were, right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way. Now we know that the vaccines.
And by the way, as also what Dr. Robert Malone said on this show, was that vaccinating healthy people could make the virus mutate and to be more deadly. That's what Dr. Robert Malone said on this show. She just said the opposite. You decide who you think is telling the truth. She just said the opposite. Everything else she's saying in here, you know for a fact is 100% not true. So you decide. You think that part's true too? Or do you think what Robert Malone said is true? It's up to you. I don't know.
Well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
None of that's true.
It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people.
That's not true.
That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this. If we just go fast enough to get the whole it means that instead of the vaccine.
No, if you get the whole population vaccinated, we're still going to have COVID. You get the whole Gibraltar, 100% vaccinated. They just canceled Christmas. Look what happened to Iceland. Look what happened to Singapore. Look what happened to South Korea. Look what happened in Israel. So that is why. So it's this kind of information that my friends have that's why they're angry at the unvaccinated, because they think like this, which is a lie. That's not science, what she's saying. That's propaganda. It's a lie. The COVID virus is never going away. Ever. Ever. And we're all likely to get it. If you live long enough, you're likely to get it. She's lying. None of that is true. And that's why people are hating on their neighbors instead of hating on the establishment who won't give you health care in the middle of what they call a deadly pandemic. They won't even give you health care, but they will give you a jab. They'll give you endless jabs at the cost of billions and billions of dollars to the government, but they won't give you health care. Hey, we're doing live stand-up shows in Los Angeles on the 7th and 14th of January, and then we're going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Philadelphia. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all tickets.